get started, I just want to say the title of this video and in the discussion, I don't mean to take away anything that Andrea has brought to the TV series, and I don't mean to overshadow or take away anything that the Sasha character has brought to the TV series. So I am not trying to offend or stir the anger pot when it comes to fans of Sasha, and who am I kidding? Andrea didn't have any fans. Let's talk. Seriously, I am only joking. I was a fan of Andrea in the first season. For the most part, there was some disconnect there with who she was and who she ended up being. It's easy to blame the writers because that's where we think most of it comes from. But we don't know the internal beef or struggles or arguments that happened. So it's easy to just throw the writers under the bus and say it's all their fault. But it could be a number of things. Like I said before in the disclaimer, I don't mean to take away from what these characters have already brought to the table. I am simply trying to say, what if there is a chance that Sasha could actually adopt some of the storyline that Andrea had in the comic book? I posted this picture on Facebook and Twitter just to try to get some responses to see what people would say, and the overwhelming majority did not get it at all that I was talking about the comic book Andrea, and I understand that because I put the TV show Andrea in the picture and I didn't say anything about the comic book Andrea. And no, I am not talking about turning Sasha into what Andrea was in the show. That's not what this is about at all. This is about taking Sasha's character and adopting some of comic book Andrea's storyline from the comic book. But what gives us this theory that Sasha could possibly become Andrea? When the Spoiling Dead fans posted this picture of Sasha on the roof with Daryl, it was very reminiscent of another character, comic book Andrea, in a bell tower with the sniper rifle. Not only in the bell tower, but on top of the RV, I mean on the ground, you know, anywhere. She was a sniper in the Walking Dead comic book. So, if you're turning Tasha into the sniper on the TV show, will she adapt more of her storyline, not her characteristics? I know some people said, oh, she was a nagging bitch or bossy or whatever. Writers do that as a tool to move the story. You know what I'm saying? And to understand why certain characters are negative Nancy, it's because if they go to Woodbury, Tyrese is like, listen, Governor, we just want to pull our weight around here. What do you want us to do? We want to help. We want to be involved. And then as soon as Governor leaves, Sasha's like, something's not right here. Do you see this? Do you see that? And then Tyrese is like, I know, but I want to whatever. The reason why writers do that is because it's not a novel. I'm not writing my thoughts. You are seeing this character on TV telling the Governor, I will follow you to the end of the earth. In reality, he's thinking, I'm going to stab him in the back the first opportunity I get. Now, this didn't happen in the show. I'm just giving you an example. He can bounce his thoughts, his opinions. He can tell the audience what he's thinking by telling it to Sasha. So Sasha was that close character, and writers do this a lot. So she could have been brought in as a character and as somebody to relay Tyrese's thoughts, because think about it, he's going to Woodbury, which is a bad place, so we need to know what Tyrese is thinking internally, and if he's not speaking it out loud, we're going to be lost as an audience and we won't connect to him, or we'll connect to him and think that he's siding with the enemy. Each character, Andrea and Sasha, have a strong personality. They're outspoken. If something's bothering them, they say it. Now, there is one thing that can stand in the way of this theory that Sasha will become the next Andrea, and that is, in the comic book, Andrea had Ben and Billy, and Ben and Billy would be the comic book universe version of the TV's Lizzie and that other little girl. Ben kills Billy the same way with a knife, says the same thing. Don't worry, he'll come back, I didn't hurt his brain. In the TV show, Lizzie kills the other little girl and tells Carol, I didn't hurt the brain. Aside from Carol seemingly getting parts of Andrea's story, I personally think it's going to be different characters who get to scene borrow from the source material. And that's happening a lot. Like I said in just a previous video, Herschel got Dale's leg bite scene. They cut Herschel's leg off. In the comic, they cut Dale's. In the TV show, the governor beheaded Herschel. In the comic book, the governor beheaded Tyrese. So everyone seems to be scene borrowing from the source material. In the trailer, we see Sasha. There were two scenes. The one she says to Father Gabriel, you can't see him, but you see his black little priest outfit in the corner a little bit. Sasha tells Father Gabriel, you show up and 3 of us are gone. Now, we are going to go over why she's saying this in the very next video. That's why I put these 2 videos back to back. The next video will be Tainted Meat. Sasha gets that line. Then the next line, Sasha is yelling pretty dramatically, where are our people? I'm jumping to predictions that Sasha is outside and she takes Andrea's role in the comic. Andrea is outside, she takes a pee in the woods and she feels somebody watching her. I think that they're going to do something similar to that with Sasha, but it might just be she's looking for Bob. Maybe Bob went out for air and he disappeared. Tyrese grabs her and he says, I think somebody's in the woods or whatever like that. So that's just my little prediction, and that's a hard prediction to make because there's a lot going on, it looks like. Now, another thing that she doesn't have, at least in the trailer, maybe we see it coming later on, she does not have the sitting on the bed scene. In the comic, Andrea sits on the bed with her head down and she waits for Dale to turn and then she executes him. In the trailer so far, we see Maggie is sitting on the bed, but I do believe that we are in fact scene borrowing. However, there is a strong possibility that Sasha could in fact become the comic book Andrea. But until she has a romance with Rick, she will never be the comic book Andrea officially. If she borrows some scenes, that's no big deal. Every character on the TV show has borrowed scenes from characters in the comic. The Andrea in the comic book, her biggest story arc was when she gets with Rick and they have the whole Alexandria war with Negan and the Hilltop. That's her biggest arc because now we care about her more than ever. She is basically the vice president of Alexandria Safe Zone. Again, I'm not saying that this is character replacement. I'm simply saying that this is TV characters adopting the comic book scenes. Some characters are going to have to adopt certain source material scenes from the comic book. There's no way around it, especially if they're dead on the show now. Like I said before, this topic would warrant more discussion if we see in season 5 that Sasha takes on more of a comic book Andrea role or starts to adopt more and more of her storyline, and especially if she even slightly gets romantic with Rick whatsoever. That's probably a huge hint that they are going to have Sasha absorb some of that storyline that they are missing now that Andrea is dead on the show, but she's alive in the comic. You can like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and right here I'm going to do little blocks since we're starting to fill up. We have Escaping Terminus, Attacking Terminus, How Bloody Will It Be, 7 comic book moments you would like to see in the TV show, and then we have what I think they could do for Negan's cursing to get around his profanity, and then I'll put a bonus video down there, probably the first overall video. And then the next video is going to be on this side somewhere, probably right here. I have a different camera angle today, so right here will be Tainted Meat coming up next. You will be able to click on that within a day or 2, and you guys are doing a wonderful job at supporting these videos. If you want to support it even more, just hit that share button, slap that like button if you want, and I am done talking. It's your turn.